What other type of team stuff are you guys doing? Like, do you guys have, are you guys doing level 10 meetings, running EOS, stuff like that?
Yeah, we've been running on an EOS system since like 2018. So like
Okay.
pretty early on. It's been a few years. It's been pretty helpful because our team is fully remote. Like we got, for me, I'm based in Thailand most of the time, and I split my time between Thailand, Australia, and Japan. And then the rest of the team is kind of elsewhere. They're either in Thailand. We have some in Pakistan, Canada, and Philippines. So like, it's definitely important to think about what we're doing for like our team kind of dynamic and culture. So like we do things like so to do that, like level 10s and those kinds of meetings weekly have been mostly like a good way to keep a touch base with everyone and keep that kind of like culture and um, dynamic with the team where they're all feeling like they're part of something and not just like a virtual worker. We really want to not label them as like VAs or something, but really like
Right.
just part of a team. We also, since last year, we've been doing annual retreats. Our team is not that big. We have like 10 people. So
Nice.
it's kind of easier to kind of fly everyone out from everywhere to like someplace. Like last year, because we just can't come out of the pandemic, we did it in Bangkok, which is like close
Okay.
to like just the next city over from where I live. And everyone was kind of in Southeast Asia at the time, so we flew them all into Bangkok. And this year we're doing it in Vietnam. So that as well, like giving them a bit of a reward for all the hard work that they do. But I can only speak to like when your team's kind of small at that like level that we're at. Like I'm not sure how you would do it when you have like 10 plus, like 50 plus team members, how it would work. But like we found that has kept our team pretty close and trusted. And I think that definitely helps with the motivation and incentive to do their best.
Okay. Nice. And I mean, it seems like it's been working for you, man. I know you mentioned you took some time off, got to travel for a good chunk of time, and you were able to rely on your team pretty heavily during that time. Like, why don't you tell us a little bit about that experience and some of the things you think allowed that to work out the way that it did?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's like the training, making sure that your regular cadence and you're focusing on the right things that to bring them in and train them on the things that you want them to focus on and what identify to them what's important when you're running a company or running the business, whatever you're getting them to work on. And then next is probably the incentive structure, making sure that whatever work agreement you have them on or contract, there's an incentive for them to do their best and like beyond just like nominal percentage increased every year. Like, is there
Yeah.
some reason for them to be working harder and getting down to the core reason for them why they would want to work hard? What's the motivation? And in order for us to kind of get a gauge of that, is we hold regular expectations meetings with the staff so that
Okay.
we kind of like understand what like they're expecting from us as employers or what they're looking for to that's really motivating them. That comes through in like our interview process, but we also do that like regularly every quarter. And
Nice.
it's also a good chance for us to communicate to them that there's if they're either meeting our expectations or there's something that is not meeting our expectations. And that way we can communicate to them because most of the time it's they just don't know. So being able to communicate why they're not meeting expectations prevents frustration. So like, and frustrations just equals expectations minus reality. So if we can get between that gap and make them understand what is the expectations, they can either rise to meet it or they'll understand why we might be getting frustrated. And
Right.
then other than that, just like handing over, giving them the responsibility to do it. But in the case where I was able to take a couple months off, I was just checking in once a week to make sure that I was just looking at the like key indicators that we kind of measure how everything's going. I'd have a meeting once a week for like 30 minutes and
Okay.
that was the kind of way I'd just check in and everything was going okay. And if they needed any kind of feedback on something, then I'd be there to kind of like help. But most of all, I was like kind of away, and it's just being able to hand over that responsibility was really nice. And I think for us though, we were really lucky. We brought in, we didn't just hire from outside someone that came in and straight away did an amazing job. It was like we had someone earmarked for like 2 years who we had been training and bringing her through and having her be like look over the shoulder when we're in like leadership meetings and then training, all that stuff. And then eventually getting some work experience with a little bit of hand holding, and then me looking over the shoulder at the work that they were doing. And so it wasn't just like, oh, you're hired, do your best. We had earmarked her for a year and a half, 2 years prior, and we had been working towards building the skill set to have her take over. And then like taking the leap, especially for someone that built the business themselves, like just taking the leap to hand over responsibility, and that was a big thing too. So that those factors were all really important, I think, in being able to let go of the handle, the steering wheel for a bit.